Hey, ¿qué pasó, familia? Welcome back to the channel. Gio Chamba aquí presente. We're back with part 3 of the Selena y los Dinos, A Family's Legacy Netflix documentary. We left off where Selena and her family are basically honing in the craft, right? The talent. And they're teenagers now, and they really do see the value of the family business that is basically sustaining them as a whole family, and they're all part of it. So they see the vision, they're teenagers, and they're starting to get some members that are really serious about the band, some members that are going to be with them until the end. So, yeah, let's get it going.
And I excitedly told my dad, told Selena, everybody, I said, that's it. We've got the missing factor, the missing piece. And Wednesday night, his secretary calls and says, Mr. Silva doesn't authorize you to use those songs. He gave them to somebody else.
Wow.
Zip myself up in the sleeping bag, and I just started crying. I was like,
man.
just started crying out of frustration.
I mean, they were kids, right? They were trying to find their way in the music market in Texas. And I mean, they were already getting invited and nominated for these awards, the Tejano Music Awards. And so to them, they're seeing this and they're seeing their peers, and a lot of them have been doing it for years. So he reaches out to this songwriter and he's like, here you go, here's these songs. And they were so excited, and all of a sudden, nope, you can't use them. So what do you think is going to happen? You already know what's going to happen. AB's going to lock in, start writing his own music.
My dad says, where's AB? Luis Silva is a musician? I says, yes, I believe. He goes, you're a musician too, right?
See?
I go, yeah.
That pink
This
bass,
is
too.
what's stopping you from being Luis Silva or better than him.
That's right. What's stopping you from being Luis Silva or better than him? And see, he was still young, so his dad was there to help him see his own vision, right? Because he wants to have the songs. He feels that they're not playing the right songs. So he's like, hey, what's stopping you from making hit songs too? So he locked in for real, because
And the first hit for
we all know what
Selena was
happened.
Se llama Dame un beso. Todo un éxito para Selena y los
See?
Dinos. Y aquí los tenemos
Dame un beso was their first hit right
de
there.
Corpus Christo, Texas,
Amazing.
mis amigos. Selena y los Dinos. Take it away.
I would literally sit there with pen and pad.
See how
and
happy they
study
are? Wow.
exactly what sounds the groups were using, what techniques, how they were playing it. From there, I was able to make my own formula for
Yeah.
Selena.
See, he made the formula. And if you listen back to those recordings, you'll notice that there's definitely a formula there, because a lot of other groups that had hit songs were doing similar things. At that point, that type of music was really a household music all over Texas and northern Mexico and all that. And so if you can just study what has already been done and proven before to be hits, then you can create your own formula according to that base. And I see that as well too within my music, because I've done that before. I've gotten inspired by other artists and saw their formula and then just made my own, adapted to theirs. Because everything in music is borrowed, really.
It was a feeling like, finally we were catching our groove, our groove factor. I told Dad, we're number one. He goes, anybody can write a number one best-selling novel and never write anything again. The same like you as a songwriter. Congratulations. Can you do it again?
I want to highlight what the dad said, right? Because AB mentioned this in a lot of different interviews. And I think that was a driving factor. That was kind of like a turning point for him when he was a kid. He was like, damn, I wrote a number one. I'm so happy. We're number one. His dad's like, congrats, but can you do it again? Anybody could just write one, but can you do it again and write multiples? And that drive that he got, right? He was kind of frustrated there, like, oh, like, but that's what he needed. He needed that push from somebody like his dad to be able to be like, yo, do it again. You got this. Let's go.
I just knew my goal, what I had to do to get in there. And I pushed and pushed.
That's so funny. He's on the floor.
I knew that AB had that talent. I could see that from a very young age. But you don't want to be a one-hit wonder.
Yeah,
There's many writers that write one song and you never hear about them anymore.
that's true.
Had it not been for Dad showing that side of the beauty of constructed music, I would have never, done everything I'd done.
That's true. See, he acknowledges that too because he has written many hits, not just for Selena, for Cumbia Kings and other artists too, outside of his own family's music. So he's definitely an amazing songwriter.
You know, we worked as a unit, and I think that's what made us as dangerous as we were.
Yeah.
Selena had a very dangerous team behind her, a ferocious team behind her.
Cool. Hey, back at the Tejano Awards. See, they were there last year, and Selena got nominated. She didn't win, and she was actually like giving out the awards. But this time, it looks like they're performing, and let's see if they win. 1987.
The people of Texas have voted Selena Quintanilla.
Hey, see, I'm telling you, winning already.
And
This is so
most
80s.
of all, I'd like to say thank you to Grupo Los Dinos because without them, I don't think I'd be anybody. And when I win, they win. And when
Yeah.
they lose, I don't know them.
She got this one here for female vocalists and here in Corpus. And we got these three. And then I'll show you our big award.
That's cool. She's so proud of it too.
So when you got this one for female vocalists.
Wow.
She sings alright, I guess.
I love that sister shade, right? Like that sibling shade. Like, oh, she got this one for best female vocalist, but she's all right, I guess. Yeah. I feel like every sibling knows what's up like that. We all mess with each other like that.
Selena was packing the houses all over the United States. But we're of Mexican descent, and I wanted to venture into the Mexico side.
It was scary. It was very intimidating because at that point, Selena was still learning Spanish and I wasn't speaking Spanish at all. We were not prepared for that crowd. So it was a very odd feeling. They didn't get it. They applauded out of a courtesy, but it wasn't like out of something because they loved it.
Wow. I think that it happens a lot whenever you're new, like nobody knows you, no matter how good you are. If people don't really know you, they can't connect with the song that you've made, then a lot of times they're not going to give you the time of day. They're just going to be like, okay, cool. You know, like he said, they applauded out of courtesy, but they weren't really feeling it.
It was kind of insane because I felt like we weren't being accepted into Mexico because we didn't speak Spanish. Oh, they think that they're Anglo. They think that they're white. You know, it's like, no, it's not even. Wait, what are you talking about?
They don't get you, they just don't get you. Luckily, we got Pete.
I was born and
Hey.
raised in Laredo, Texas.
That boy Pete. See, okay. What they're talking about is when they first went to Mexico, nobody was feeling them. In 1987, they hadn't broken through just yet. They were still finding that sound to be able to connect with the Mexican audience. In Texas, they were killing it because in Texas we have Tex-Mex, so we have the English and the Spanish influence and all that. So people in Texas were really feeling them for sure. But when they went to Mexico, it just wasn't their crowd. And I feel like as a musician, sometimes we do go somewhere and they're not feeling you. And it's nothing there's nothing wrong with your music per se, but it's just not the right audience at that time. And just the energy is not there. So I think they really needed the hits in Mexico to be able to break through and have people accept them. That way, people hear it on the radio and they're like, "Man, I want to go see them." And then once they see them, there's an excitement for it. And I think that's what we're gonna see here, especially with Pete, because he's an amazing songwriter. Him and AB teamed up, and you already know.
United States and Mexico come together in one unique spot, which is Laredo, Texas.
Yup.
And so I get the benefit of being, an American and also having my Mexican heritage.
A huevo. I love Pete. He could dance, he could sing, he can write.
Pete Astudillo, I got this guy in the band because he spoke Spanish. He
Yeah.
started showing me a lot of the influences that he
speaks
had
Spanish.
from Laredo, Texas.
Yep.
And also at the same time, he could be a relief singer for Selena because we were playing 4 nights a week. So I would throw him up.
For real. And honestly, I can see that because Selena was singing her heart out all the whole show. And they're like, okay, we need a little break. We can get this guy Pete. He sings and he's an amazing singer and he dances. And then he also started writing with AB. So Pete was honestly like that cherry on top I believe, in Selena y los Dinos. When they met him, when he joined the group, they found that right sound. They found that right energy. And like AB said, that Pete, he spoke Spanish. So he was also great at interviews too, as we'll see.
And he was good at it. He's an amazing songwriter.
Yep.
Had he not been there, I would have never known what cumbia was.
The cumbia rhythm is very up rhythm. It's very upbeat. It's very happy.
Exactly. See, like cumbia obviously comes from Colombia, and in Colombia, the roots of cumbia were more indigenous and African and all that. But eventually, once it started getting to all the other Latin American countries, each place had their own version of cumbia. So when cumbia reached the northern Mexico and southern Texas area, they were able to adapt the rhythm, right, the cumbia rhythm, with their sounds that they were using for other music like Tejano. They were using a lot of synthesizers and everything, but the rhythm is still the same. Like they said, it's a happy rhythm, it's a joyous rhythm, it's for dancing. So that's what cumbia, I feel like it connects with so many different types of people because everybody knows that cumbia rhythm. The top part could be different, right? The instruments used could be all different, but that rhythm, if it's constant, if it's that cumbia rhythm, everybody enjoys that. It's my favorite song.
And I knew that in Mexico, cumbia was predominant.
Yep.
I knew that we needed a good cumbia in order to get with the Mexican people.
You need that. You really do. See, look, they dance together. Look at that. He just added so much to the show too. I love that they bring people up on stage to dance and give them a spotlight. It's so cool.
What I learned about in this business, if you're in the right place at the right time, things can happen.
Let's go. Look, a little older already. They got invited back to the Tejano Music Awards, and they're already been winning stuff. But you could just see the progression, right? The maturity of the sound, of everything, even the style and everything. That's awesome.
Jose Bejar from Capital EMI Latin heard the band. He says, hey, I heard the group. I want to work out something with you.
See, now they're getting the attention of even bigger labels because they were with a smaller label that they've been pretty successful with. But then the bigger labels started paying attention.
And that's where we signed the contract.
It was 89 when she left Manny's label and signed with EMI Latin.
Wow. See? LA. They went out to LA because once you get the attention of all these big labels, everybody was going to want to work with you, especially at that time because nowadays anybody can release music. But back in the day, you needed labels to release your music. You needed physicals, right? Cassettes, vinyls, eventually CDs. So I think that it was just the next step for them. A lot of times nowadays, artists really don't need labels. You can be independent. But back then, you really needed a label. So that's why they went on with them.
When we signed with the MI, we signed with the Latin side, but the goal was to have her cross over.
Yeah, I mean, she's American, so her first language was English. It just makes sense for her to cross over because she had so much range. She not only was really good at Spanish music, cumbias, tejano, all that stuff, but she was also into music like Tina Turner and all these different. I mean, we all heard the disco medley that she did, right? So yeah, I mean, her, oh man, she's got all those really good English songs too. So it was inevitable.
You get so involved in what you're doing that I wasn't aware of that Selena was growing and the group was growing bigger and bigger. But, the way you measure success in that kind of business is by how much money you're making. And we were making some top money.
So I love that. He's like, the way you measure the success is by the money that you're making, and we're making some top money. That's amazing because if you think about back in the other episodes, right, at the beginning of the documentary, where he was talking about they had to close down their family business, which was the restaurant, in order to be able to move and start the music business because that town they had the restaurant in, it was just not doing so well because everybody left due to the unemployment from the oil rigging and stuff that they were doing there. So they were just at the very bottom trying to survive. And then now where they're at right now. And that was, within years of them working together and just making the vision come to life. They were actually getting to an amazing place there. And look at that.
My dad started working on Bertha.
They upgraded
We got a generator, got the bunks
tour
built
bus.
in, and she was the
Got the
best
bunks
bus
going.
ever, man. Traveling in Bertha with the Dinos, with my family, with everybody. It was beautiful, man. We had the perfect band.
The first time I met the band
Hey,
was
Chris.
at one of the rehearsals. It was super impressive, powerful, and I enjoyed the sound. It sounded modern for the time, fresh.
That's so cool. Hey, he brought that rock and roll element there. He's such a shredder. Yeah. And see, like they needed a guitarist like that too because he can take on some solos and just give it a whole different vibe for the people who are all into rock. And I think that's what they did. They had a lot of elements that crossed over to so many different audiences, right? Selena, she can win over any audience, but the band needed to be on point like that as well.
It was not my idea of him joining the band. Baby is the one that brought him in. And you can't deny the fact that he's a great guitar player.
Yep.
I guess starstruck would be the word because he had just signed with Capital EMI. That was impressive, obviously. First, we didn't hang out too much. Selena was always either off with Suzette or her mom, but we would make
I love
these
that
long
they pick on each
trips
other.
in the bus. That's when she and I got to become friends. Anytime we were next to each other, we would just be me and her talking, about music and movies and things like that. It was cool, seeing her just being a normal person. A lot of people imagine her as this powerful force of a woman, strong, but she had her vulnerable side. Just having to deal with all that she was carrying. It's tough stuff, to be up early in the morning, be working till late at night, and she did it with a smile on her face. Always going, always on, and I think road life had started to become pretty busy, pretty hectic. And, doing the designing, it was something that made her happy.
Yeah.
She would set some time aside, quiet time.
See, look at that.
She would have
Her designs.
her
She
sketch
just
pads.
like sketched these on the road while she was just envisioning all the looks that she wanted to have on stage, but also like the precursor to her store, right? Her actual brand, her fashion brand. And they even said it at the beginning of this documentary that she would dress all of them. So that's so cool that they all were for that and they were all down with wearing her creations on stage.
She would just start going to town, and some of our outfits that we wore on stage were drawn by her.
Nice. Look at that. That one right there. That's amazing that she made that.
I think the one outfit that
See, they look so
I
cool.
just can't get over is the cow print. Like, clearly it was not my
The cow print, it's legendary though, for real.
idea.
Nobody
She's
else
like,
does
let's
that.
do cow print. And I was like, oh my God.
Bailas de Cumbia was the first song that became a major hit. And it kind of sparked that whole cumbia craze. We need to do more cumbias now. We need to do more cumbias. Man, we're a Tejano band. But then the label says, no, do all the cumbias you want. They work. Whatever you want to do, by all means.
See, that's so crazy. So, because they were mainly playing Tejano for a long time, and if you don't know Tejano, a lot of it's like kind of like a polka, like dun, 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 right? So it has a different rhythm than cumbia. So they were known for doing the tejano, and they were a little hesitant of doing cumbias because they were a tejano group, but the label was like, hey, the cumbias are working, man. Bailas de Cumbia is a huge hit, so like give us all the cumbias. And he said, we're not a cumbia band, but I feel like everybody nowadays thinks of them as a cumbia band because all the amazing cumbia hits that they made. And if it wasn't for Baila Esta Cumbia and all the other ones, right, like that that popped up in their minds to create, they would have probably just stayed in Tejano and doing the Tejano thing.
AB done a little changes on the cumbias, gave it a little flavor of funk, and that exploded.
Yep.
We were really rewriting.
See, so what he said right there, he gave the cumbias a little funk flavor, and at that time, I'm sure you would hear Parliament Funkadelic, you hear all these different groups that were using synthesizers and all these different sounds that weren't in cumbias before. AB was like, "Hey, let's do that. Let's use these," and I think that's amazing because it's forward thinking. It's also kind of blending cultures, the American and the Mexican, or also Latino cultures, which they're Chicanos, so why not do that? And I think that's what gave it its edge. And obviously, Selena's vocals were completely different than any other singer's vocals, and still is. All that formula there with Selena on top, and then the songs at the bottom with all the really cool instruments and stuff, the different elements, was really what brought them a lot of success.
The rules, and I think AB was our leader in the sense that he was rebellious
Yeah.
against the norm, and actually Selena too, because I mean,
Got to be.
they were listening to a lot of pop, and we were listening to a lot of rock and roll.
See, a lot of rock and roll and a lot of pop. That's what they were consuming whenever they were on the road, on the bus. So why not incorporate those sounds like that? And I mean, at me as a musician, I completely agree with that because I'm a Chicano myself and I like rock, I like hip hop, I like electronic. So that's what I put in my music with the cumbia mix of electronic, hip hop, rock, guitar shredding, whatever it is. So they're a huge, huge inspiration for me and for so many of us.
And that's why Selena grew so big. And she
I believe
became
it.
accepted in other countries.
Yeah.
Cumbias, they were all major hits in the Spanish world.
Estamos muy sorprendidos del público, nos están aceptando la música de nosotros porque más antes era un poquito difícil para los grupos tejanos entrar aquí en México, pero ahora es un poquito
Wow.
más fácil.
See, they were at the
gracias al
Tigre
público.
Stadium. See, remember that clip we watched earlier? Nobody understood them. And a few years later, they honed in on the style, they honed in on their craft. She started learning more Spanish, right, for interviews. And now look, stadiums in Monterrey, in Mexico. Amazing.
¿Qué es lo que te gusta a ti de la música tejana?
Bueno, realmente el ritmo.
¿Dónde salió de que yo voy a bailar cuando soy cantante?
Bueno, yo creo que eso vino de mi papá con el cinto.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to stop right here. This is part 3 of the Selena y los Dinos, a Family's Legacy. Tune in for the part 4, and I believe we only have like 2 more parts. So much love. Thank you for joining me today. Hope you guys have a beautiful day. See you on the next one. Peace.